tick was coming from over in this area, so went ahead and decided to take the valve cover off and try and find out what's going on. I didn't record taking the valve cover off because it's simple as far as, you know, you just take all these are 10 millimeter bolts. You just take all your 10 millimeter bolts out. That part's simple, or for the most part anyway. When you get over here trying to take this cover out, what you're gonna have to do is take the oil filling unit or house off of there. You're gonna have to take the brackets off of your heater hoses so that you can slide them back. Take your PCV hoses off and disconnect as much of your wiring harness as possible. And then you're still gonna have to fight for your life because this hose is pretty solid here and it won't hardly move. You cannot disconnect this and move it because you'll drain all your Freon out, and that's also, you know, an environmental hazard. So anyway, you've got to twist the valve cover up and bring it up through here, right here. So it's got to go like this, and it's very, very hard to get out. I haven't even had a chance to look at this. I literally just took the valve cover out, but I can tell you, I had a sneaking suspicion that this engine hadn't been taken care of and that it was sludged up, and I was right. I mean, this is disgusting. Somebody's definitely not taking care of this thing. Crank the truck up and let it run and see if I can find the noise from there. The plastic gets super brittle when it stays hot all the time, so be careful with your clips. Don't touch them unless you're just taking them off, you know, obviously, but just be super careful with them. I know I'm kind of making this look hard. It's really actually pretty easy, but I'm trying to hold a camera and do this with one hand, so that's why it's a little challenging for me right now. I love working on cars with one hand. I love it. I love it. I'm sorry, guys. You can tell I'm getting aggravated. There we go. All right. Now, that's the lifter we're after. Well, that's one of the lifters we're after. We've already replaced quite a few of them. We're replacing all of them on this one side. I don't know if I'm going to get to the other side or not. So, okay, this one, you can see he's got some play in it. I don't know if you can see that or not. So this one's somewhat bad. Here's the others I've taken out. This one here, I don't guess you can really see that, but it's bad too. See it spins around, hops up and down. That one's no good. So we're going to take a new one and put it in that hole. Here's what the new one looks like. We soaked them overnight in oil. So we're going to go ahead and drop this in where we just pulled that one out of. Okay, and now we're going to show you how to put the rocker arm back on. So we've removed it, replaced the lifter. Now we're going to put the rocker arm back on, and it's the same exact process for every single one of these. On this particular engine, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each side. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 on each side on this particular engine, which is the Dodge Chrysler Jeep 3.7 liter. All right, so videoing this is going to be extremely tricky, especially considering all this crap's in the way. Let's see if I can get that to stay back for just a minute. Okay, so what you want to do is slide your rocker up underneath the cam lobe and up as far as you can in line, which would be right there. Okay, so now what you want to do is this end where I have my finger, you get you a pry bar up underneath there, and you pry inside the engine here, not on the valve cover mating surface. You want to pry inside the engine against the rocker arm backwards, and you don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on it. So let me see if I can set this down maybe. Okay, I know you can't see the bottom where my finger's at, but this is just going to have to do because that's the best I can get this situated. So now, see how I have that pry bar up against the rocker arm. Now I'm going to pry it up this way, and you'll watch it slip right onto the top of that. There it goes. So that's how you replace your lifters. Remove your rocker arm, replace your lifter, and pop your lifter right, or your rocker arm right back on. Same exact process for all 6 of these. 12 if you're doing both sides. My thing is, I had a really bad lifter tick on this side, or at least that's what I thought it was. And so far, I've had 2 bad lifters, but they weren't like completely collapsed. So unless this one last lifter I got is the one that's collapsed, then I did all this for nothing, because I probably got a valve problem. Alright, so I should have videoed taking this one out, because this one literally popped right out. It wasn't holding any pressure. This one is I don't want to say completely collapsed, but pretty daggum close to it. Watch this. See how far it compresses? So this one really could be, hopefully, what the whole problem was. This shouldn't move at all. So with it compressing like that, that very well could be the problem. I did have 2 others that I showed y'all that, you know, they weren't this bad though. So hopefully this right here will fix our lifter tick. Alright, we got the valve cover back on, and I just wanted to note a couple things. One is these valve covers, they're plastic. Be careful with them. I don't think you had to worry about breaking them. Just know that they're plastic. They're not metal. Also, the gaskets, if you're going to do this job, get the valve cover gaskets, because rubber, once it's stayed hot for so long, basically turns into a hard plastic. And that's what these gaskets do. And then that's how they fail. They'll turn into a hard plastic, and then they don't seal anything off anymore. Another thing is, if you have not already bought the 3.7, you might want to do a little bit of research. In the Dodge world, if the engine ends in a 0.7, then you're going to have problems. It's a problem child. And ask me for proof. Right now I'm working on a 3.7 and a 2.7. And if you just do a little bit of research online, you'll find that everybody feels that way. I'm not the only one. So 2.7, 3.7, 4.7, 5.7, all problem childs. So if you haven't already bought it, you might want to do a little bit of research and maybe reconsider. 3.7 and 4.7 are bad for a lot of different things, but dropping the valve seats is one of them, and that's pretty serious. So just do your research if you haven't already bought it. All right, I got it back together enough to crank it up and find out if that tick is gone. Now, this engine is extremely sludged up, so I'm not sure if the tick will be gone or not. I do know that I'm definitely going to run some liquid moly through it as soon as, you know, I find out whether this has helped or not. Let's crank her up. Now this is a cold start. It never did have a tick on the cold start, so it may still come, but so far so good. All that noise you hear is vacuum lines that are open. I will say normally by now I hear the tick. So far so good. We had 3 collapse lifters. That wasn't the source of our tick. What you can do now is keep going trying to come. This definitely sounds different now than it did before. I don't know if maybe the tick is covering up what seems to be a knock now. Seems to be coming from lower in the engine. I think we've got rod knock. Pretty sure that's what it is. I don't know if the tick was just louder